Hi, it's spiritual psychic Cynthia Killian here, also known as Psychic Cynthia, and welcome. I'd like to welcome you to today's video, which is dealing with how to end the cycle of bad luck. And you know what's prompted this video for me is the fact that as a professional psychic, I get asked frequently by people the question of when will this cycle of bad luck end for me? When will this series of unfortunate events end for me? And, usually this is by clients who are, having a string of unfortunate events where, something has set this cycle off, or, it starts maybe with a health issue, or there's a family problem, or somebody dies, and then there's financial problems, and then there's more problems, and it just seems to be a period of time in a short amount of time too often, maybe, well, short, not just like a week, but 3 months or 6 months or a year of, typically it's around 6 months when they reach out with the question, how can I end this cycle of bad luck? Because, it takes them a while to realize that they're in a cycle. So this is what has prompted me in making this video today. And first of all, if you are watching this because you are asking that question, when will this cycle of bad luck end? It's good. It's good that you're aware that you're in a cycle here. I think that is the first step towards breaking up the energy. It's just to start to notice that there is a connection to these events. There's a pattern of energy flowing here. It's just not one isolated occurrence. And so becoming consciously aware that this is happening in your life is a good thing, okay? I'm not saying that the events are good, but to have some conscious awareness around a pattern is good. So this is what I want to talk about in today's video. And what I'd like to do is to get to the essence of how you can break up this cycle for you. And then, this will give you an idea of some types of things you can do, or just what needs to be done in the big picture. And then if we have time, I'll talk about some specifics, but I may have to do that in a different video at a different time. And first of all, one thing I want to say right off the top, when clients ask me, or people sometimes write me on Facebook, in my Psychic Readings with Cynthia Facebook group, and they say, do you see this turning around, this cycle of bad luck? When do you see it turning around? Regardless of who you are or what the unique details are of the situation, I want you to know that these kinds of cycles, well, there's good news about it and there's bad news. The good news is that even if you didn't do anything, really, these cycles will eventually turn themselves around. So that's good news, right? I mean, eventually the energy will break up and it will start to move in a direction because, something will happen to intervene from the outside that will break up the energy. And it could be a very strong astrological shift. I mean, such as a kind that only occurs like once a year or every 2 years. It could be the intervention of someone close to you who's very powerful spiritually or emotionally. Something could just happen to break the energy up, but it can take a long time. That's the bad news. If all you're doing is asking when is this cycle going to end and you're waiting, do you understand that's very passive? So you may have to wait a long time, and in most cases people do, because energy, once it's set into motion, in other words, once it's in a pattern of movement, it just keeps going until something breaks it up. Do you understand? I think something has to break up this pattern of negative energy for you. That is the essence of what this video is about today. Breaking up the cycle of bad luck energy, right? You don't want this bad stuff to keep happening. And I'm going to encapsulate it real densely here for you, but also clearly, hopefully. When you're in this cycle, first of all, it is a cycle. It is a pattern. The energy keeps moving in the way it's going. You know, even if you weren't in this particular kind of cycle, let's say if you were on a roll, quote unquote, a positive energy roll, often the energy just keeps rolling the way it's going until there's some kind of interruption, right? So you're in this cycle of negative energy. And I don't know what caused this for you. I mean, a lot of times people blame themselves and say, well, I did this or that, you know, and this has to do with the law of attraction. And listen, the law of attraction does come into play here, but it may not be entirely your fault, you know, for how this started, because I don't know if you've noticed, but things just happen sometimes, no matter how high your vibrations are or how meditative you are. There can be situations that happen. And just so you know, it's my observation and experience in working with clients to help break the cycle of bad luck, and I do a lot of that work. So if that's something you would want to work with one-on-one, you know, maybe you're in a situation where you feel like you can't break it up without help, then I am available for those sessions, either online, via telephone, or in a few cases in person. So there'll be a link underneath the video for my website. That's cynthiakillian.com, or it's not that hard to find. So Killian is spelled like million, but with a K. Okay, I digress. So what I see when I work with clients on this, and you know, they might be blaming themselves, and if you're doing that, just stop. Okay, just stop. You know, if you're saying, well, I know that I should feel good, and I know, oh, there's my telephone. Well, I better just take that off the hook like I usually do. Hold on a second. I'm sure it's nobody important. And if you were calling at that time, well, I only pick up the phone unless I know somebody's calling at that time. So it must not have been important because I didn't know anybody was calling. If you, getting back to our little talk here, on you breaking your cycle of negative energy, if you know that you're in this and you're saying to yourself, you're blaming yourself, you're saying, well, I should have, you know, more positive energy because according to the law of attraction, how I feel is going to be what I attract. Just stop it, because that's not helping yourself to feel any better. Blame does not help yourself to feel any better. Taking responsibility can be very empowering, but that is different than blame. Do you understand? And the fact of the matter is, when you're in a string of bad luck scenarios, I don't know if you've noticed, but it's really hard to feel good, isn't it? I mean, how in the heck are you going to feel good when all this crap is happening? I certainly don't expect you to just feel good, you know, about your life if you lost your job or a bunch of people are dying or you have a sudden health problem. Nobody feels good about that, okay? So understand that it's completely natural to not feel good when you're in the cycle about the things that are happening, and you don't need to beat yourself up for that. And in fact, if you are beating yourself up for that, that's not helpful, okay? So just quit. And, you know, one of the best things you can do, if that's the case, I mean, before you can even do the other thing that I want to talk to you about, the thing I'm really making this video about, if you're abusing yourself in that way, because that is self-abuse. I want you to take a breath into that, okay? If you're talking to yourself that way and you're, you know, blaming yourself for feeling bad when bad things happen, that's just abuse. And, you know, by the way, there's plenty of people out there in the world who are willing to treat you bad. You don't need to treat you bad, okay? I mean, if you feel like you need to be treated bad, then go find somebody else to do it. Okay? But I'm assuming you don't like to be treated bad, right? Who wants to be treated bad? So don't treat you bad. That is, a guideline that I hadn't even thought we need to cover here. But yes, one of the first steps, before you even really begin to turn the energy around for yourself, is to stop blaming yourself and beating yourself up if you're doing that. This doesn't mean you can't take responsibility if there are some things that you feel you could have done better or you want to do differently in the future. By all means, take responsibility. But don't beat yourself up. There's a difference. Okay? So very important. And, like I said before, if you're in one of these cycles, it will break up naturally. Usually it will happen. Actually, it's not so much it breaks up naturally. It's just, after a longer period of time, say a year or two, something else just happens that begins to change the energy pattern. So if you wait long enough, that will happen, but it can be a very long time. If all you're going to do is just wait for it to happen, in other words, if you're going to approach this passively, dear one, I can guarantee you that it's going to be months at least, if not a year or two, rather than days or weeks. And that's an option if you want to do that, but that's not what this video is about, okay? Because what you can do if you're not feeling good, and of course you're not if you're in a bad energy cycle, you can begin to interrupt the cycle yourself now. You can begin to break it up. And how do you do that? Just big picture, real simple. You do that by engaging in activities that help you to feel good again. Activities that make you feel like you're having fun. Things that lighten your heart. I'm wearing a bracelet right now, the lighten up, it says, right? So what makes you laugh? What makes you feel excited? Or what do you enjoy doing? It can even be something small, something pleasant. I've had cycles of bad luck before. I think we all have. Sometimes they're shorter, than others. Sometimes it's just like a few weeks. Other times they're much longer. I found that when I'm in some of those cycles I had in the past, there haven't been a lot, but there's been, a few throughout my life. Just drinking a cup of tea and relaxing. That can be a real game changer for me, and maybe doing that every day. So that's what you're looking for here, is things that you can do that can interrupt the flow of bad energy, negative energy, unpleasant energy. And listen, as I'm using these words bad and unpleasant and negative, I completely know that from the big picture cosmic point of view, there's no such thing as bad, really. It might be unpleasant, but it's not bad. Even in these quote unquote cycles of bad luck, there can be so much to learn and grow from, right? But on the other hand, you don't want to stay in this forever, do you? So you want to start by interrupting now the cycle of bad energy by finding things that help you to feel good, things that are healthy and uplifting. So this isn't like, go out and do drugs or something like that. No. Although if you want to have just a glass of wine, and that helps you to feel good, that's fine. Myself, for relaxation, I prefer a cup of chamomile tea or lavender tea. I don't know if those are herbs that you can use, in tea form, but if you're not allergic, you might consider those, or peppermint tea. But it's not about tea specifically, okay? It's about you finding those activities that help you to feel good. And we'll have to go over some more of this in another video, I see, because I'm running out of time here and I need to keep this reasonably short. But one of the number one ways, I just want to talk briefly about this here. Number one top tip for shifting the energy, for starting to break up the cycle of bad luck, is to begin to exercise daily. And yes, there are specific exercises that I find that are more helpful than others for this. I mean, especially yoga or Tai Chi or Qigong, even just plain old walking, maybe a little brisk walk if you can. And one of my own personal favorites, actually, I love all those that I just listed, but it's a new one that I've really been working with over the last year, and that is the rebounder. You know, the mini trampolines. If, you know, that's something that's safe for you to do, you can get on there and jump. And let me tell you, that really, truly releases negative energy and helps you to get reset. Because if you have not heard the message already, what I'm saying here is you need to consciously reset yourself and your energy patterning. You know what I'm trying to say? Patterning. Because even though, you know, it may not be your fault that this, you know, cycle is happening. I mean, it's your responsibility to change it. I mean, unless you want to wait a long time for it to break up naturally. And I think, you know, you got to ask yourself, I mean, are you ready? Are you willing to wait another year or so for things to just happen? I doubt it. That's probably not why you're watching this video. You're ready for things to change now. If that's the case, it's going to be up to you to change them. And you've got to start by repatterning your energy, by, you know, creating that shift in the flow of the energy. So I would highly recommend that you start with a form of daily movement, because movement causes our bodies to release energy. And, you know, especially when you've been through a cycle of bad luck, all that emotion and that worry and that fear and that tension and all the insecurities, it all goes into your body. I mean, that's why you feel tired, you know, or you have tension in your shoulders, especially in the right shoulder often, or in the neck or in the lower back, okay? These are the emotional energy side effects of this cycle of bad luck. Now, it may also be other things that you've been carrying for a long time, but the cycle of bad luck just wears you down, and you absorb the energies. You're carrying these things that aren't helping you to break the cycle. That's what I'm saying. You've got to release those. So first off, start with the daily movement. No excuses, okay? I mean, if you're, I don't know, maybe you're bedbound, okay, and you can't get up. Well, maybe there's something you can do in the bed. Maybe you can lift an arm up, right, and breathe deeply while you do that. I know there's chair yoga, so there's many different ways. And, you know, if you do want to break the cycle, you cannot make excuses. If you want to stay in this cycle of bad luck another year or two or more, keep making excuses, okay? Not that I'm saying you are, because I think that if you're here watching this video, you're much more proactive than many people out there. So anyway, those are some top tips. And actually, I might wait to see if I get any feedback about this video before I do more. But if you'd like to know some more ideas for interrupting the flow of a cycle of bad luck, I certainly do have some more thoughts I could share about that. So comment below and let me know if you would like that, and if so, I'll do those videos for you, or just one more at least. Good luck with it all. I hope you realize how powerful you are, and that you do have the capability to break up this energy flow. However it started, you have the capability. Until next time, love to you all. Good vibes to break up any negative cycles you're in, and bright blessings.